All right, everybody, good evening. We're going into a sixth video today. Last group of edge rushers. Just a few more guys that could provide quality depth for a pretty low cost. I think pretty much everybody in this video is going to be, 3.5 million at most. Some of them going to be much less than that, so shouldn't be any problem in terms of cost. It's just who you like, who you think has a little bit left in the tank, or who has just not a very big tank to begin with, I guess, but has something left in it. All right, let's just go ahead and jump in. Again, we're going quick. Dewan Smoot, rather, is actually, I think, how it goes. About to turn 30 years old. Been a little quiet these last couple years. Kind of crashed in Jacksonville in 2023, went to Buffalo, did a little better, but there was a little run there for the Jaguars where he was a quality, passable contributor, but seems like those days have passed. Now he's about to turn 30. You're hitting the other end of the line here, but I think he can still play. I think he can still get things done in this league. PFF thought that in 2024 he was somewhat passable on 300 snaps, so get this guy in there. 300 snaps, that's maybe you restrict that to like 15 a game just to keep things safe, and you might get something okay. Previous year, this was what got him pushed out of Jacksonville. PFF really did not like him. One of the worst graded edges in football, 42.4, 340 snaps. So certainly practice caution, but reasonable enough reserve. Spotrack, 2 years. They actually think he's going to get multi-year. I don't buy it, but 2.9 million. So let's say it's 1 year, 3 million. I guess that's about right. Again, there's not a lot of upside here, but it could work. John Kaminsky, one of the many members of the Detroit Lions defense last year that got injured by the end of the year. He did play most of the year, though, and he did all right. He's a grinder. He's not somebody who's going to get in there and dominate, but he had to play a lot more than they probably wanted him to because of all the injuries, and then he got injured himself, but did play okay. Gave Detroit 30 total games over the last 2 seasons, which is, at least he's available, and he's been a reasonable depth piece. PFF grades okay last year, 62.1. Played a decent chunk of snaps, too. Like I said, 566, probably more than they wanted, but he held up. Year before that was even better, 550 snaps, 68.2. He's got some stuff going on here, and he's still pretty... He's still going to be 29 when the season starts, so age is not becoming that big of a deal yet. So 1 year, 2.5 million, probably about right. Again, I wonder if he's giving you anything that you can't get from like a fifth round rookie for much less, but there is something to be said for veteran experience and being experienced when it comes to how to do things in the NFL in a way that a rookie won't necessarily understand. Al-Quadin Muhammad of the Detroit Lions, another recent Detroit Lion, just about to turn 30. He's been around the league a little bit. Saints, spent 4 years on the Colts. Colts is where he kind of had his semi-breakout year, 2021, and since then he hasn't really managed to get back to form. He did a little bit for the Lions last year, but didn't play a ton, and he's a depth piece. You have this guy as a starter, you're gonna get some things you're not too thrilled about. You're not gonna get great production. Last year, only 250 snaps, and he was still not even average as far as edge rushers go. And the year before that, when they tried to give him a bigger role, 600, you see how the efficiency drops. So he's meant to play maybe 15 snaps a game at most. And you ask much more of that out of him, he's gonna probably start to diminish in his efficiency. Botrack says 1 year, 2.5. Sure. Again, does he give you anything you can't get out of a fifth round rookie? Maybe. Are you willing to pay the extra $2 million against the cap to find out? Maybe that's not a good idea. Joseph Osai. Not really sure why Joseph Osai is even going to be a free agent this offseason. He was a third round pick of the Bengals. He actually was able to put together a decent statistical season in 2024. He's only been on the Bengals 3 years. Does anybody know why he's going to be a free agent this offseason? I haven't been able to find anything about it, because I know he was drafted in 2021, but he missed all of 2021, so this should be at worst like a Darrell Taylor situation where he's restricted. But I didn't see him as restricted. I saw him as unrestricted. Maybe he is restricted. If so, it'll probably be hard to get him away because he just had an okay year for the Bengals, 5 sacks, almost 50 tackles. But if he is free, this would be something I would look at. He's still very young. PFF grade last year was okay on under 600 snaps, just under. Year before it was really good, but it was only 180 snaps. So I'd take that with a grain of salt, but 68.4, not bad. And Spotrac did have a value page for him, 1 year, 2.3 million. I'd be all over this one. He's about to turn 25. There is some pedigree here. I kind of like Joseph Osai. This would be somebody that I pursue if he is indeed a free agent, because I feel like he might just be becoming what he's going to be. And for 2.3 million, sign me up. Marcus Davenport, a veteran, been in the league for a little while now, but he's still only going to be 29 when the season starts, having just turned 29. First round pick back in 2018 of the Saints. Little Clowney-like in that he sometimes struggles to put up numbers, but he's still pretty impactful. And the real thing with him is that he just can't stay on the field. The last 2 seasons combined, he's played in 6 games. I mean, he missed games in New Orleans, but not like this. He played double-digit games every year he was in New Orleans, and since then he's been completely unable to remain on the field. Has 9 combined tackles over the last 2 seasons, 2.5 sacks. Hard to imagine this guy getting big money this offseason. Now, PFF, again, he really didn't play last year. If you go back to 2023, the PFF grade's pretty poor, but it's only 118 snaps. If you go back to the last year, he played significantly, 500 snaps in 2022. The grade is great, 76.8. That's 100% worthy of an investment, but he actually has to be out there for at least those 400, 500 snaps. And there's no evidence he can do that based on the last 2 seasons. But the price is right, man. 1 year, 2.2 million. This would intrigue me. This would be something I'd take a look at. I think that if Davenport is healthy, he's worth a lot more than this. I think he could be kind of in some ways, a replacement Clowney for McDonald. So I'm interested. Jacob Martin, remember this guy? Former Seahawk, was a draft pick of the Seahawks back in 2018. Just turned 29 a couple of months ago. And he's bounced around the league since leaving Seattle. We traded him to Houston in the Clowney trade. He was okay there, went to the Jets, went to the Broncos, went to the Colts, went to the Bears. Now he's a free agent again, so he just keeps taking these 1-year deals and gets swapped around the league, and he does okay. He belongs in the league, but not by that much. He hasn't had the big breakout year yet, and now he's about to turn 30. PFF said he was okay last year. Top 100 barely, 220 snaps. And the year before that, similar, on about 200 snaps. So keep his snaps down. You allow him to be a reserve, and he'll give you a little bit of gas when he gets in the game, but not a lot. There's a low ceiling here. So 1 year, 2.2 million. That's probably about right. Personally, I'd rather go after somebody like a Davenport or a Osai if I'm going to spend that kind of money. Martin is kind of the worst of both worlds, where the ceiling is low and the upside and the floor is also relatively low, I feel like. So, not a huge fan of this idea. Dietrich Wise of the Patriots. Going to turn 31 in July, so getting up there in years. Been a pretty good career with the Patriots. He's always just been kind of a guy that provides good production, but never really got over the hump as anything other than a decent player. 2022, 7.5 sacks was about the best he ever did, but helped them win a Super Bowl back in 2018. Is reliably on the field, has only missed a handful of games in his career, and he's been like a... I don't know what would be a good comp for a player like this. He's just somebody out there who keeps grinding every year, does his job, but doesn't really go above and beyond in any noticeable way. PFF average in 400 snaps last year, 2024. The year before that, not so much, on about 600 snaps. So You don't want to be playing this guy too much. You don't want to be pushing him too much, but you can definitely get some good things out of him in a limited role. If you have him playing 15 snaps a game, I think it's going to work out nice. Botrack 1 year, 2.1 million. So for that price, I think you're going to get your money's worth no problem. Age is not a huge thing for him yet. He's not old. He's just getting there. So viable option for a number 4 edge. Final guy we're going to look at here would be Lorenzo Carter. This was a guy I was really interested in many years ago, but that was a while ago, man. Now he's 29, going to turn 30 in December. He's been injured a little bit. He's been injured a little bit. The last few years haven't been so bad, but I remember in New York he got hurt a few times, missed most of 2020. Been a decent producer for most of his career last year. Not quite the impact you would expect from him, but he's another guy who just kind of grinds out there and plays okay until last year. Last year, it seems like things got really thin for him. He was part of a Falcons defense that was not very good. He was, in many ways, part of the problem, part of the reason why they couldn't get to where they wanted to get in Atlanta in 2024. But I still have my eye on him a little bit. Obviously, it's not as appealing as it was years ago. PFF grade was abysmal in 2024. Big decline here, 43 grade on 400 snaps. So troublesome consideration. Year before that was good, though, so maybe it was just a one-year fluke. Maybe it was not working well with Raheem Morris. I don't know, but I'm not going to condemn him yet, but understand what you're getting into with Lorenzo Carter. 1 year, 1.5 million. Nice price, right? Can't go too wrong there. You're not going to get too much cheaper than that for a veteran. There are other edge rushers out there for sure, but they're all going to be pretty cheap. They're all going to be cheaper than this and totally replacement level at best. So that'll do it for this series. I'll see you guys later. Another position tomorrow. Go Hawks.